It seems like everywhere you turn all over social media, people are warning against purchasing a brand new car in the year 2027. And why do I say that? Because, like I've warned in the past, AI has now taken over everything, and that includes brand new vehicles in the year 2027. So basically, if you think about it this way, you are no longer in control of your own vehicle. The government is. Have a look at this. Federal surveillance technology becomes mandatory in all new cars by 2027. So basically, every little thing that you do in your own vehicle in the year 2027 will basically be watched and under scrutiny. Take a look at this wild and crazy video for yourself.
Come on. No. Now imagine there was an emergency outside the truck, an accident, something terrible on the ranch with a chainsaw. And I jump in this truck, but the truck, it won't shift into drive. Why? Because the cameras and sensors inside this cab won't let it shift because it detects my eyes are big. There's a lot of emotion, there's some panic, and it doesn't feel that I'm fit to drive.
And after seeing that demonstration, how scary is that? Picture that. There's an emergency. You jump into that truck, and all of a sudden that truck does not want to start because you're not fit to drive, even though you could be injured or someone else could be seriously injured, and you just want to get them to a hospital. And to have a better understanding of this law, they also will have the power to listen in on what is actually going on inside of your own vehicle. And it also gives them the power to look inside of your vehicle to see what you're doing. And if you're speeding or driving reckless, it can contact the police as well. And if you happen to be using your cell phone in your hand to, either text or make a phone call or just talk on it in general, AI inside the vehicle will detect this and alert authorities as well. So if this AI technology doesn't scare you enough, listen to this. If the AI in your vehicle deems that you are not safe to drive this vehicle and you're driving reckless or driving too fast, it will automatically pull the vehicle over and shut it down. And the law also states in writing that this technology has to be in place and operating every single time this vehicle is in motion and you get into it. And it all works through AI cameras and AI sensors. So basically, your control and everything you do inside your vehicle is now AI's control. You are no longer in charge. And Ford has become one of the vehicles to patent this technology. And that includes scanning your face, eyes, iris, and fingerprints in real time. And if you're one of those people that likes to engage in criminal activity, it'll run you through a criminal database before you even shift out of park. This thing will also detect panic, emotion, and refuse to let you drive in an emergency. Think about that. And this is not something that just popped out of nowhere. This has been planned for a while. Once again, that's why I tell people, pay attention to what's going on, what's being passed, because it looks like your freedoms to drive just got a little bit more complicated. Let me know your thoughts on this.
First and foremost, before we get started, I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakak Kwadash, and double honors to those great millstone, while lunch is truth, and also to those elect that are scattered abroad. I like to say, Shalom. Come back here today with another great, powerful lesson through the spirit and the power of Yahweh. And the type D lesson is AI surveillance technology. So I'd like to say shalom to all our listeners and learners. Hope this helped you today and guide you back in the path of righteousness and back to your true power, which in fact is Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. So before we get started, let's get this quick AI overview. It says, advanced impaired driving prevention technology mandated by the 2021 HALT Act for new vehicles by roughly 2026-2027. Said uses passive sensors to detect alcohol impairment and driver monitoring systems, DMS, to prevent intoxication operations. So we're seeing now this is the cover that they're going to use. One thing about it, we already know that this is all about what? Total control, having you under surveillance pretty much 24/7. So you will own nothing and be happy. So we're seeing now how they putting all these different AI system into place, which in fact is going to be dealing with your what? Biometric. We're constantly telling you about this new digital biometric system that they're constantly putting in place right before your eyes. And also, we already know that this is not about drunk driving. This is not about safety. This is all about control. And once again, we're not ignorant of safe device. So let's get a little bit more of it. So seeing how they bringing it in and they're talking about advanced impaired driving prevention technology, just to keep you safe. So this right here, when you seen the video, just all about control, kind of remind me of that movie called Demolition Man. When you get around to it, look at that movie and how those cars, they were speaking to them and certain things you say that give you a point or a ticket or something like that. But check that movie out. So they already been putting this in your face for just been around for several years. I noticed that one time one of my friends had a car. They had put this on his car. And I think he had a couple of DUIs, and he couldn't even drive the car. He had to blow every time or whatever. Like, he had to check his blood alcohol levels. So we already know that the technology is already here. The stage is set, and also you already know this sounds just like the MOTB. All roads lead to that grain of rice. Let's get a little bit more of this. It said these systems, including breath-based and touch-based sensors, automatically measure blood alcohol concentration, said BAC, and can disable the car, if the driver is over the legal limit, aiming to save. Let's see here. Let's open it up a little bit. Aiming to see, and I lost my. See where I was at. Let's see. Let's start back here. It says, one moment, aiming to save thousands of lives annually. So right here, it's to prevent, someone from, I guess, getting unalive. Also about safety. See how they bringing it in. Once again, this devil is very clever. This is all about control. Or we're here to save lives. Someone, cut down on drug driving. So we having a lot of, these people are dying from these accidents. We put it like that. Key types of advanced prevention technology. Said driver alcohol detection detection system for safety. So it says here, these systems measure a driver's BAC passively without requiring a deliberate breath test. Oh man, this is something. I'm telling you, man. See what else it said, talking about the sensors. It said installed in the steering wheel or driver's side door. These measures the light absorption of alcohol molecules in the breath. So we already know. So this is going to be dealing with your biometrics. Also, already put out a video a couple of days ago about smart dust. Go back and look at that video. It's dealing with the same thing. So they're going to have this technology that's already going to be in your body. It's going to work with this nanotechnology. I don't want to go too far into it because we know that YouTube, how YouTube get down. Touch-based sensors, just scanning through some of it, said located, on the ignition, the ignition button or gear shift. Said these are infrared light to measure alcohol through the skin and through the fingertips. So basically, it's dealing with your biometric, eye retina scan, your face recognition, voice, fingerprint, palm. So you pretty much, you see how this is lining up. Biometrics gonna play a major part in this new system that they're putting into place. Also dealing with your currency. So everything is boiling down to your biometrics, also to your identity. So we already know this goes into that Big Brother is watching. And also we already know that they set up Palantir, these data centers, collecting your data. It's also getting ready to put you into a digital prison. So I think about 8 or 9 years ago, they had a lot of videos, with what his name, what was that man name, Klaus Schwab, of the WEF. He was talking about you will own nothing and be happy. And also going into, you won't have no more ownership over your home or your vehicles, pretty much everything. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna be it's gonna be total control. 15-minute cities. So that's what this is exactly what this is going into. So they're saying this is gonna be mandatory by 2027. So that's just what next year. So we're seeing right now we're getting closer and closer to this beast system. And also this is gonna line up perfectly with what Revelation chapter 13. You know what I'm saying? So we're seeing right now, we would not be able to do, by ourselves. So this is going to be universal, globally, worldwide. Let's see right here. Let's get this here. It's in implementation and regulation. It says federal, it says here, let's see what I want to get. It says federal mandate said the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act 2021. So this came out of 2021. Had been passed, but it's going to be mandatory in 2027. So it's going to be in all vehicles. He said require automakers to install this technology. Said in all new vehicles. So that's by 2027. I got a little ahead of myself. So like it. He said the goal said the technology is expected to prevent over 9,400 fatalities annually. How in the hell they come up with that? You know what I'm saying? I said timeline said while originally target for 2026, some industries sources suggest a realistic implementation timeline of 2026 or 2027. So we see it right here. You know what I'm saying? Man, this right here is all about total control. You know what I'm saying? So in order to drive, you got to give up all your biometric. You look a certain way, or you tensed up, or you feel like you asleep. They shut the whole damn vehicle down there. Hell, they might even lock your ass in there. So so this technology is real. Hey man, the devil's getting ready to come down with great wrath. So it's talking about the timeline. It's talking about the challenges. It said concerns has been raised regarding the readiness of the technology, potential false positives. Say could leave drivers stranded, and privacy concern related to constant monitoring. Yeah, damn well you ain't gonna have no privacy, and also it will leave you stranded. So it's a lot of things with this. This is all a part of the plan. You know what I'm saying? This NWO. So let's go here and look up the word surveillance, so we get a bit more into this, because this is exactly what this is going into. Surveillance. So this is going Big Brother watching AI, your biometrics, everything's getting ready to be digital. Programmer, also implantable technology.
Surveillance.
It says here surveillance is the close, systematic, and continuous observation of people, places, or processes to gather information, manage, or influence behavior. It is commonly used for security, crime prevention, or investigation via methods like CCTV tracking and data monitoring. Synonyms include observation, security. I think that's what they say. You know what I'm saying? It said supervision and monitoring. So we see it right there. This is what this is going into. So this is what we constantly been warning you about. They want to constantly watch you 24/7, get in your vehicle, out of your vehicles. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with these carbon footprinting. You already know what's happening in China. It's already had the blueprint, sweet. So the MOTB is already in place. So this is just another part of the system. So we seeing how they merging everything into one. So this is going to be a life changing event. You know what I'm saying? So everything is getting ready to change. You're going to be jobless. That's why they're going to come with this universal basic income. And also, in order to drive, you're going to have to give up those biometrics. You got to be who you say you are. And also, you cannot be impaired, or they feel like you are uptight about something. It's something that's bothering him. Shut the whole damn truck or car down. Get him out of there. They call the police on you. So this is becoming slowly becoming a police state. And also your rights are pretty much, you can have no damn rights. There was an illusion pretty much being taken away from you. So we're seeing right here, constant surveillance, watching, monitoring, you know what I'm saying, tracking, scanning. See, you understand what I'm saying? So let's go here Get a quick precept, and I got one more video that's kind of similar to the one I just brought out, but it's got a little bit more meat on the bone. So let's get to this one here right quick. Just quick, let's do the spirit and the power of Yahweh Shema Shai. It says here, Psalm chapter 10 and verse 2. It said, the wicked in his pride doeth persecute the poor. Let them be taken in the devices that they have imagined. So we already know right now the wicked, in his pride, doeth persecute the poor. Who's the poor? So which invites the Negroes, the Latinos, the Native Indian, talking about Israel. You know what I'm saying? We knowing that this man is getting ready to use these devices, his agenda, his plan. He's imagining a vain thing. I was reading in NLT, he said the wicked arrogantly hunt down the poor. Said, let them be caught in the evil they plan for others. So that's exactly what's getting ready to happen. They are going to set it up. The devil's getting ready to fill his belly to bring forth this new biometric, this digital biometric system. But guess what? The Lord is going to take him. You know what I'm saying? It's going to cast him down. So we already knowing that his hands will not be able to perform his enterprise. That's all I'm gonna get out of there. There's still a lot of good meat in there. But one thing about it that we're seeing now that more than ever, the system is in place. So, we know about, I'm thinking by 2027, everything will be digital, but probably before the year's out. So we already know that they're getting ready to do away with cash. So let's go here, you know what I'm saying? So we know that the dollar is getting ready to be obsolete. Let's go here to 2 Corinthians chapter 2, just random scriptures. Second Corinthians chapter 2. I've been bringing this out a whole lot because, man, this is exactly what's getting ready. This man is trying to get that advantage. 2 Corinthians chapter 2 and verse 11 says, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we're not ignorant of his device, of his agenda, of his plan. Who's not ignorant of that? The prophets, the true believers. Also we know that the physical counterpart of Satan is the so-called white man, the modern day so-called white man, not white, red. So we know that he's getting ready to come because come down with great wrath because he knowing that his time is very short. He's seeing that his day is determined. So we're seeing right now that left and right, he's constantly bringing this system into place. So we're seeing all these different things, every aspect of your life is getting ready to merge into this system. In order to eat, you got to be a part of this. In order to buy and sell, you got to be a part of this. In order to drive or to work, if it's any work, you know what I'm saying, you're going to have to be a part of this system dealing with your biometrics, you know what I'm saying, with AI, you know what I'm saying, digital, you know what I'm saying, implantable technology, so this, the advantages he's trying to get to put you in a chokehold to make you a petrol slave. So I have one more video, and then after the video, we'll start back up the lesson.
Yeah, it's going to blow your mind. Sephora's latest patent scans your face before you drive. And this is surveillance tech. I repeat, surveillance. And it'll automatically turn off the vehicle if it determines you're a danger on the road. It's not just banks like Wells Fargo that can soon surveil our transactions through bodily functions, allegedly, but cars too. And every car in the U.S. will be required by law to have tech that puts constant surveillance on the driver by 2027, allegedly. Sephora's latest patent involves using cameras and machine learning to read lips, scan your irises, track facial expressions, and monitor your heart rate. Doesn't that sound familiar to the Wells Fargo patent? Remember I just told you about Wells Fargo's Stardust patent, the alleged surveillance technology that they want to use for our transactions? They're going to use microscopic airborne surveillances to collect information on your heart rate, body temperature, blood pressure, breathing patterns, facial recognition, voice signatures, motion profiles, all of that just to make a bank transaction. And the craziest part to me is that it can even compare biometric data to law enforcement databases. So it's technically for our safety, right? The goal is just to improve voice commands and check if the driver is alert and fit to drive. Haven't had too many, drinks, but I feel like they can do other things with this information, this data. Just my opinion. Of course, we all want to be safe on the road and we don't want sleepy people on there, right? And that's why they're calling it the driver drowsiness detection system using image processing. And of course, they give statistics on how many people are actually sleepy on the road or drowsy and etc. Doesn't it just feel like everything that we want to do in the near future, we need approval for? Approval to make a bank transaction, approval to drive your car. Surveillance is interesting, isn't it? Just my opinion. Everything I say in this. Yes.
We're seeing right now that they're using the cover of someone being a drug driver, to keep keep someone safe, but we already know what this is all about. This is, what I'm saying, the devices of the wicked. We already know that they're putting this system into place right before your eyes. So let's go here to Isaiah chapter 10, you know what I'm saying, because they're coming with these unrighteous decrees. We seeing that now they're coming with these harsher laws. Just a quick lesson. Let's go here to Isaiah chapter 10. Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 1, it said, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, that they write grievousness which they have prescribed or authorized. So when you go into that word, woe goes into destruction. So we already know decree goes into a law or mandate or some type of executive order. You know what I'm saying? They constantly putting these things into place, constantly putting you in a digital prison, dealing with your biometric, also they keep constantly telling you, it's for safety. That's how the devil come. He's speaking sweetly with his lip. But you know what I'm saying? But war is in his heart. We already know that this red devil is getting ready to roll on you. We know that Jacob trouble is close at hand, the hour of temptation, also the MOTB. So all this is going to play together with this new beast system dealing with what your biometric is, also blockchain technology, 5G, 6G, and also with that smart door, with nanotechnology. We put it like that. So all this is working. It's going to work hand in hand. And also the company that's going to be pushing it is Palantir. They merging everything into one. Your bank account, your medical history, your identity. Pretty much everything about you, so it's, everything about you, put it like that. So that's what they're coming up with, these unfair laws. That's exactly what they're doing. That's reading NLT. So what sorrow awaits the unjust judges, and those who issue unfair laws. So that's exactly what they're doing, left and right. They're constantly doing these things. We're seeing it with our own eyes, constantly happening. So the devil's getting ready to come down with great wrath. We constantly warn you. This man will get ready to roll out this system right before our eyes. And a lot of our people still are not believing. That's why the Lord set up watchmen, to warn you. Let's go here to Revelation. They're just random scripts. I ain't probably gonna get too many more, but let's go here to Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. Let's get this right quick. Revelation chapter 12 and verse 12. And it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. So woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. So right now, this red devil is seeing that the vibration is changing. He's seeing right now he's being exposed on all levels. Every move we make, we constantly exposing him with this wisdom, this knowledge, to what this gospel. We constantly rejoicing. We seeing right now that he's getting ready to use his technology. He's getting ready to use his military. We seeing right now he's constantly plotting against the just. But one thing about it, he's in for a rude awakening. His time is short. Hey, the day is at hand. This man, is getting ready to go down. So we're seeing now that more than ever, he constantly putting all these things, using safety, saying, for drunk drivers, checking your blood alcohol level, all this technology, and that's what they come up with, So you get in your vehicle, it might lock you in your vehicle. You have to stay in there until, call the police on you, It's a lot of things, they're putting into place. Man is the devil, the devil goes into a false accuser, or someone that is slanderous, or a deceiver. So that's what this man is doing, deceiving a whole lot of peoples, man. We seeing it. So Lord has set up watchmen to warn you all these impending dangers. Let's get that right quick. Let's go here to Ezekiel chapter 3. Ezekiel chapter 3 and verse 18. Let's go here. It says here, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore, hear the words at my mouth and give them warning from me. So one thing about it is exactly what we're doing. Every time we see something, we're going to say something. So this is a part of the system. So we constantly seeing left and right. They're putting it into place. Everything is ready. This is the plan they've been trying to bring for several years, to merge everything into one. But he is imagining a vain thing. We're seeing that we're very close. That's why we always got to pray. We got to be circumspect, redeeming the time wisely, because we're living in some very wicked, evil time. Let's go here to our last and final script. Let's go here to First Peter. First Peter chapter 5 and verse 8. First Peter chapter 5. We'll start by verse 7. And it reads that, casting all your cares upon him, for he cares for you. Verse 8, be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the enemy, the devil, as a roaring lion, walks about seeking whom he may devour. So that's why we got to be vigilant. You know, vigilant goes into being what? Watchful. You know what I'm saying? We got to watch out. We got to, you know what I'm saying, constantly be circumspect, knowing what time that we're living in, you know, the environment, the peoples. You know what I'm saying? Seeing this new technology, a lot of people going to get enticed. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are going to be fall right in line with this trap, this snare. You know what I'm saying? It's only going to lead you to that MOTB, that grain of rice. So the title of the day lesson, once again, is AI, surveillance technology. So I'd like to give all praises and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Ba'ashem, Mekah Kwadash. I like to say, Shalom. Shalom.